How's everyone doing tonight? I think most of you know me from the campaign trail. I've been following Donald Trump a little over 4 years now. Started August the 27th, 2015. Got to be back behind the scenes on a few events. Got to shake President Trump's hand. Got to talk to him. Seen that he's for the blue collar worker. He's for the Americans first. The one thing that all of you need to know is before Donald Trump come along, the media, they're the ones that put our president in the White House. Our votes didn't do it. The media did it. Now, this last time, my vote helped a lot because it's the first time I'd voted in my life. And what drove me to vote was my mom dying in a nursing home because some of her medication was taken under Obamacare policies. She couldn't get all her medicine. And then in July, my sister was taken from us. She called me on a Wednesday crying and talking about how the doctor told she had a blocked valve behind her heart and she was going to die if she didn't get medication for it, didn't get a test done. And she's actually on oxygen when she called me. And she worked at a large trucking company 20-some years and had great insurance, she thought. But the great insurance that Obama gave her wouldn't pay for this test that needed to be done, which is they deemed non-emergency. So on Wednesday, she called me crying, and on Saturday, she left this earth about 10:30 that night. My sister was 52 years old. I got involved in politics after that. I'm type 2 diabetic, and of course, my insurance had been about $217, and I got a letter saying that it no longer was any good with the $2,500 deductible, 2 dental visits, and a $35 cap medication card, and then a cap on my insurance on what I could be charged. So they sent me a new policy out saying it was going to be $975 a month, and it's going to be $6,000 deductible with no cap, no prescription card, no dental visits. And I did some research and looked, and I noticed that Virginia, where I live now, our insurance had increased 287% under Obamacare. You know, Obama came through Martinsville, Virginia, and talked over here at the college and told everyone how great he was. That's all he talked about was himself. And he said he'd think about Martinsville every day he woke up after he left here. And he'd make sure that NAFTA did not affect us anymore. He's going to help us. After that, probably within 60, 90 days, our last textile plant closed down. NAFTA came through here and ravaged us, and we'd lost about 23,000 jobs. And then we had an unemployment rate in the state they claim is 15 to 18%. And here's where it really gets tricky because the people that lost their job, they had a little package they gave them where they'd send them to college for 18 months to 2 years. Now, can you imagine your mother or your grandmother, say your grandmother's 63 years old, she's worked at Bassett Furniture 40 years. She doesn't even have a computer at home, but they're going to tell her she needs to go to college in order for her to get any kind of financial help or any government help. She's got to go over here to college. She's no computer at home, no laptop, no smartphone. So here's your grandmother, 62 years old, has already raised her family and grandkids, and she's over at college trying to figure out how to cut a computer on, much less use it. And what they didn't tell you is all these thousands and thousands of people that lost their jobs was getting a check from the state for unemployment. So they didn't go into the system as being unemployed. So this little 15 to 18% of unemployment rate was actually about 35 to 40. But this, everyone was lied to, and we got no help from anyone. You got Tim Kaine up in Richmond lying constantly. You've got Warner lying. You got Warner making these investments, and when the housing market fell, he made all these millions of it where he had invested in it. And you can go do your research. You can find what I found. The one reason the politicians here in Virginia don't like me because I tell them what I think about them. And I can't say it on this program right here. I can't say it on this podcast, but most of you can read my mind on what I think. Now, we do have a few on the red side, Ben Klein. I've got to know him. Bob Goodlatte was a great guy. We've got some guys. Bob, Bill Stanley's trying to help Virginia all he can. But as far as the rest of them, they're not worth a hill of beans. I had to say it in a nice way. Where I come from, We got to be nice. The reason I'm doing this right here is because I'm going to start doing this on a weekly basis. I'm going to let everybody know what's going on. I've been to 12 states following Donald Trump. I've photographed 70 events so far. Everything's came out of my pocket. I've put my finances in the red. I mean, way in the red right now. And it's going to be hard to dig out, but I don't care because I lost everything in 2011 because of Obama being so good to me. So I think now that I have got back on my feet and I do have my business back, I should be able to go out and support the president because he's done so much for me the last 2 years. Where I live, it's so small here. If I don't know what I'm doing, somebody else will tell me or tell you. So you can Google me, Ray Reynolds Volunteer, Ray Reynolds Construction, Ray Reynolds Gym for Short, Bike Ride, Scholarship Ride. So that way all of you know I'm not fake and I'm not a fraud. You know, during the campaign, I've met so many people that's tried to get rich off the Trump name, selling coins, selling hats, selling shirts without permission, trademark infringement. I met one vet that is a vet, but he was making money off President Trump's name and off the vet's name, and everything was going in his pocket. I even met another photographer that's claimed he's Trump's personal photographer, and he photographed several events in one state, maybe 20 in one state and 5 in another state. Never rode on Air Force One. But, you know, like I said, he's making the book tour and letting everyone know that he's the president's photographer. I don't know how that works. I've done 70. I've been to 12 states, and I'm still claiming I'm a volunteer because that's what I was, and that's exactly what he was because I photographed with him. But more power to him if he can keep conning and people keep believing it. I guess he can keep doing it. With me, I'm going to be straight and forward to you. If you call me out, I'm wrong, I'll admit it. That's the only way to be in life, is be honest. The only way you're going to believe what I say is because of honesty. And if I give you some facts or figures and it's wrong, call me out on it. That way I can check, see why they're wrong. Mark Robinson, running for lieutenant governor down in North Carolina, he's finally spoke out about the guns, and he's one of the few people that's had enough guts to do it. And I want to thank Mark for doing it. Last week they had an election, Super Tuesday, not Super Thursday, and Mark got 30-some% of the votes. I'm in Virginia, but I was born in Mount Airy, which is Mayberry, and that's why I still classify myself as a North Carolina Tar Heel. Now, I love the Tar Heels, but I don't care for Roy Williams because of the things he says about Donald Trump. And he went and put Obama's picture on the wall with the championship team from 2017. So y'all probably know how I feel about that. Now you know why I'm not photographing Carolina right now. I do ACC sports, and this podcast may get my credentials pulled, but so be it. I'm going to say what I got to say. Been out west a little bit, so I am tired. Allergies have bothered me. Face broke out like a pizza. But I'm going to talk to you, and I'm going to tell you what I got to say tonight. Got a few notes laid out, about the guns, the red flag law. All of you need to research what the red flag law is. Because if you got any enemies in your family, if you got any enemies in your state, any enemies where you work, they can have your guns taken. If you don't believe me, look it up. All they've got to do is go to any law enforcement, tell them they think you're crazy, you got a problem, and they will take your guns until you are tested. Now, we need to make sure this is repealed, it's stopped. These knuckleheads in Virginia, Northam, blackface Northam, which is an idiot, he's the one who has instigated this, and now it's went on up to Massachusetts. It's going to other states. We've got to do something about it. We got to keep our guns. I'm not much of a politician. Not going to lie to you. Got the southern accent. I know people all over the country that's bought my books and met me in Vegas, met me in Phoenix, met me in Colorado Springs, the ones that hugged my neck, the ones that laughed and told me I talk funny. I may talk funny to you, but my words have meaning, and I do speak the truth. Our nation is in trouble right now, and we've got to come together. This new virus that's out is a problem, but it's not as bad as they are claiming it is. On my other screen, I've got up to the side. We've had 15 deaths. We've had from the coronavirus. We've had 46,000 flu deaths. We've had 299 coronavirus cases. We have had 45 million flu cases. Now, let me tell you what's going on right now. The media tried the impeachment. Well, first they tried the Russia collusion. Then they tried the impeachment. None of that worked. So now, if they can stop the economy from growing and they can take the money that we've made so far off our 401ks, they can destroy the stock market, they can bring the world to a stop, which they're trying to do, then this will hurt President Trump. But it's going to hurt you too. So here's the problem with the Democrats. They don't give a dang who they hurt as long as they win. If they will destroy you, Nancy Pelosi proved she will do everything she can in her power to destroy you, take your rights, hurt you every way she can, if she can defeat Donald Trump. Now, something these people, the politicians and Democrats, have not figured out. They're not trying to defeat Donald Trump. They're trying to defeat 60 million voters. 61 million voters that voted for Donald Trump are the ones they're trying to beat. We're the ones they're trying to hurt. We're the ones that's got to stand up and fight. We've got to have Donald Trump's back. You see, they took in God we trust out of so many things. They're trying to take the 10 Commandments out of everything. They're trying to take our statues down. And let me tell you something about the statues. Then in Charleston, South Carolina, they've raised, I think, $10 million or $100 some million to build a museum that tells about the slaves that came into South Carolina by the traders. And up the street, they're trying to remove all the statues because it reminds you of the slave days. Now in D.C., they've got a museum about slaves that our tax dollars paid for, millions of dollars. And you got to pay to go in, and it is a good history. But then up in Richmond, they want to take all your statues down because it reminds you of the slave days and history. Now, I'm sort of confused. If you don't want anything to remind you of the slave days and you're taking the statues down, why in the hell are you spending hundreds of millions of dollars to build these museums so you can put it back in there and show everybody about the slave days? This is the kind of thinking we got right now. And, you know, I'm not going to get into a black and white color issue because I believe that when you die, you're either going up or you're going down. We all bleed red. The one thing I know is no one illegally is going to come in this country and take my rights. No one is going to come into this country and bring a disease to me and kill me. No one's going to come into this country dressed like a damn mailbox. Excuse my French. But you're going to stand on the side of the street and all you can see is your eyes, not knowing what's under your cape or whatever you're wearing, your garb, and you think it's going to be okay. I can't even wear a Halloween mask on Halloween. But you think you're going to come in from another country and you're going to look like a mailbox on the side of the street and we're going to accept it? No, it's not going to happen. Not with me still breathing on this earth. So, you know, I'm not out here to sound racist or offend nobody, but I am an American. And where I come from, Americans come first. Now, a lot of you may not like this. A lot of you may try to get me banned. And if you do, that means I'm doing something right. But you better get ready because I'm coming strong. I'm coming really strong. And I'm going to be here to November 3rd. I support Donald Trump all I can. The 70 rallies are dropping the bucket to what I wish I could do. I'll be posting pictures. I'll be posting videos. I'm going to need your support. I've got a GoFundMe page. I've had several people help me. I've had several anonymous donors send me money in the mail. This money goes to my travel. I've drove over 62,000 miles, paid for my expenses. I've flown over 20-some thousand now. I've been to 12 states. I plan on going to some more states. I'm going to Texas. I'm going back to Florida. I'm going to go to Georgia. I'm going to follow Donald Trump wherever he goes so I can keep showing you the diversity of this country. I have a book out, The Trump Movement. My Path, My Passion. You can go get it on www.djt.digital if you want to purchase what few I have left. I've got some North Carolina books also. I will be doing a third book. One of the chapters in it probably going to make some people mad. Because, I told you I was type 2 diabetic. Well, my last chapter in my book is going to be diabetics. And in this chapter, the travels I've had for the last 4.5 years, the people have lied to me, the people have done me wrong. I may not call their names, but I'm going to let everybody in this country know how hard it's been on me. About my food in Aiken, South Carolina, the night I was President Trump's personal photographer behind the meet and greet. And we go out to eat and they take my food from me because they say the cook spit in it. We couldn't wear our credentials. My brand new truck being vandalized. The pictures that I did at the sit down with Alan Wilson from South Carolina and Donald Trump, at that time candidate Trump. And the pictures that I did were sold by another photographer to people that came and showed me and told me, don't want to get into anything negative, but my pictures have been stolen, they've been sold, people claimed them. It makes me mad. The Melania picture from Myrtle Beach is my photo. It's copyrighted. It's been viewed 23 million times. It's on my book, on the back cover. And finally, people are starting to realize it is my photo that was taken. As time goes on, I'm going to talk about the events I've went to and what I've witnessed. Phoenix, I walked for 15 minutes after I walked by 2 parking lots holding 15 to 18,000 people in each one of the parking lots, 80 degrees. I walked 15 minutes and could not find the end of the line. And half the people there didn't speak English, which really tells me Donald Trump's got some support right now from everyone. Because I saw people that were Asian. I saw Hispanics that was worshiping Donald Trump, talking about how much they love Donald Trump. Please tell Donald Trump they love him. I had gays that were there. I did videos so people can see it later on. When I went out to eat at the steakhouse at night, had someone buy my dinner and got there, and the people there were all Hispanic. And they talked how much they loved Trump. Going to Vegas and seeing 24 to 25,000 people could not get in. And the people that were in were crying because they loved Donald Trump so much. And I was asked on an interview the other day, what's it like going to a Donald Trump event? And some of you young people don't know who Elvis is, but the older people do. A Donald Trump event is like the Rolling Stones and the Elvis into one. There's nothing like it. Donald Trump is for us. Donald Trump is for the people. Donald Trump loves this country. Donald Trump wants to help us be better, and he's for the blue-collar worker. Now, my job description, I've been in construction 34 years. The day I closed down on my first home in 1985, NAFTA was coming through at that time, and they were starting to get their claws into people, and I got laid off the day I closed down on my first home. So I had a 30-year mortgage with no job. So that's how I got in construction. I started doing photography because I coached a ball team, and the photographer didn't do our pictures for us after we paid, and had to deal with that. So here I am right now. This coming Saturday, I'll be 59 years old. 2016 is the first time I voted. And when I was interviewed by David Jackson with the USA Today a month before Trump won, I told him Trump's going to win in a landslide. It's going to be an election like nobody's ever seen. Now, I was invited as a special guest to New York. I was on stage till about 4:15 a.m., so I got to see history made. I got to photograph it. It's in my book. I got to go to the inauguration. Stood out in the rain and got to see that. There's a lot of things that I've got to see history made. I've got to photograph a lot of people in politics. Mark Meadows is new chief of staff. I've met him many times. He's a great man, a great guy. He's going to be a great chief of staff for the president. He's got his back. Louis Gohmert is one of my favorite people that I met while photographing an event in D.C. Last year, a couple of years ago in July. I met all the people in the Trump campaign. All of them are good people. They all support us. They are trying to help us. I'm going to go ahead and end this right now. It's starting to get time consuming. I will be talking more. The more relaxed I get, the more I'll open up. And you see the funny side to me. Right now, I'm angry about the virus because it's taking people's life savings. It's destroying an economy right now that Donald Trump has built up the last 4 years that Obama's taking credit for. But I can tell you this, until November 3rd, from now until November 3rd, you will be hearing me and you'll be seeing me. Now, I may not get no media coverage, and the bottom line is I'm going to let you know what's going on behind the scenes. I'm going to show you the pictures. I'm going to show you the videos. The media has lied to you long enough. Too many years have went by where the media has decided who wins elections. It's time that we decide. It's time that our vote counts. So right now, as I end this, I'm asking you to give Donald Trump your support, to give him all the votes you can in every state. I want you to share this with all your friends. And the podcast will be the Razor's Edge. I'm getting things set up. They're not quite ready yet. But as time goes on, I will have it more professional. But right now, I think I'm getting my point across. And I think all of you know me. I think all of you know me and know who I am. And you know that, I mean what I say, and I'm an honest person. And that's what it takes, is being honest. Because there's so many people that forget to be honest once they get to the top of the tier. And I'm not saying I'm a celebrity. I'm not saying I'm special. But I tell you what, our country will come together. It has come together. We need to keep it together. Thank you.